Hi, I'm Matthew Buzzy, here with a laptop that's probably not like anything you've ever seen before. This is the Asus ROG Zephyrus Duo 15, a gaming laptop that shares something in common with Asus's own ZenBook line, but has its own twist on it. Now, it might not surprise you that this is a more premium laptop. It has a $3,000 starting price, and our test unit was a $3,700 configuration. For that much, you get a Core i9 processor, 32 gigabytes of RAM, an NVIDIA RTX 2080 Super Max-Q GPU, and 2 terabytes of storage, as well as a 4K display. Rest assured, those parts do deliver high-end gaming experience, a blistering fast speed and high frame rates in games, as well as good performance across the board. The star of the show is this secondary screen, and that's what kind of sets this laptop apart. The ZenBook Pro Duo series from Asus has a similar type of display. It's full width across the body here, but it doesn't tilt up an angle at you, which is really the unique feature, which also allows for additional cooling. Since this is a gaming laptop, it gets very hot while you're gaming. That's one of the main challenges of creating a thin gaming laptop, but the extra room here allows the top vents to take in cool air underneath this display and then exhaust it out the back and the side. So it kind of turns the tilted display, which makes it easier to see, into an additional advantage with the cooling. Now, the burning question is, what is the screen used for and is it worthwhile? I don't think anyone needs this display. I do think it's very impressive and it's a really cool feat of engineering, especially on a laptop that's this thin and light. It's 5.3 pounds. You can see how thin it is, so I admire that about the design. But the screen itself is more of a bonus, of a luxury if you can afford a laptop this expensive already. You can use this built-in display like you would any secondary monitor. You can drag and drop windows onto it. You can put apps there that sit there persistently while you're gaming on the main screen. That's sort of the real use case since this is the gaming monitor. If you wanted to have Discord up on the bottom so you could see your friends chat, or Spotify to control your music, or really any other chat service or reference for whatever game you're playing that you want to have up on the second screen without minimizing, you can put that all on the bottom screen. You can drag and drop straight to it. There's also a quick toolbar that lets you select a button and pops it down onto the screen for you so you don't have to drag it every time. And since it's a touch screen, they include this cool launcher for your apps and settings. So the functionality here is really only limited by your use cases. I mean, these are all luxuries. It's a really expensive gaming laptop that no one needs, but they're really cool luxuries. They're really cool bonuses. I think this is a difficult concept to pull off. It's a smart concept, but it's hard to execute well. I could have seen this going badly, but it's really streamlined. It's simple. The laptop itself is nicely built, and I kind of find myself liking it a lot. This is the kind of laptop you'd see in a sci-fi movie or TV show, and I think having it come to life, albeit at a high price, is really impressive. So to sacrifice for the location of the screen and the cooling, the keyboard is pushed down further than you're used to seeing on a laptop, and the touchpad is relegated to the bottom right corner. We've seen this on other Asus Zephyrus laptops, but it takes a little getting used to. I kept finding myself reaching for the middle, remembering it's not there. It's a little skinny, but it works, and you're probably going to be using a mouse most of the time with a laptop like this. You have a pretty full complement of ports on this laptop again, despite the relatively thin size. One side just has the audio jacks and the power connector, another has 2 USB ports and a USB-C port, and the back end has an Ethernet jack, an HDMI connection, and another USB port. As for the battery life, I didn't really expect it to be that great because it has really powerful components and a 4K display, but it actually ran for a little over 6 hours on our rundown test. That's not bad. That was with the second screen turned off, which you can do with a button above the touchpad. I feel like if you're in a scenario where you're trying to conserve battery, you might not need the second screen on. It's kind of a waste. I did turn it off on the second run, and it cut about an hour and a half off of the time. So one thing to note here is there's no webcam. Not really sure why Asus decided not to include one. Not the first time we've seen them do that recently, but yeah, no webcam in the system. In a time where everyone's working from home, maybe not the best exclusion, but I don't make the rules. Finally, just to hop back to the particulars of our review configuration, the Core i9 CPU is blistering fast across the board. The 4K display is not the one I would choose for this laptop. Even the RTX 2080 Super has trouble running games at 60 frames at 4K. You can always dial it down to 1080p resolution, but then you still are stuck at 60 Hertz. So you might as well go with one of the high refresh screen options, since that's what you're probably going to play games on, and the power of your GPU is kind of being wasted at 60 Hertz. So there's a lot to consider with this laptop, and you can read many more details and more of my thoughts about the execution and how it works in my review. But the long story short is I do like it, and I think it's cool. I think it's impressive. I don't think most shoppers are going to buy this. I don't think Asus expects most shoppers to buy this. This is kind of a halo product, a showcase of what they can do. do. I think you might see this design filter down into some less expensive laptops. It's not the first one to do this between Asus's own laptops and the HP Omen X2S, which has a small square screen in the middle, but I think it does it the best, and I kind of want to applaud its ingenuity and its innovation. And for that, we gave it a high score. Check out the full review and more of our coverage on PCMag.com.